What is going on, FitFam? Just got to the gym. We are about to crush some glutes and legs. So I hit lower body hard 2 days a week, and then I also do a full body day where I get a little bit of lower body, but today is the very, very intense glute day, especially because we're going to be doing as heavy as I possibly can hip thrusts. Remember, the best way to grow your glutes is to put some serious weight on them. You are so much stronger than you think. Recently, I was doing kind of just like always the same weight, and then I started really pushing myself, and since then, even in just a couple of weeks, it's been like 5 or 6 weeks, I have really seen some serious glute and leg development. So it definitely works to push yourself with the weight. So I'm going to be walking you through everything. Follow along. Hope you enjoy this glute and leg workout. Let's get into it. All right, FitFam, let's get into this booty pumping workout. So we're gonna get our fabric resistance band, put that just above our knees, just so we can do a little bit of glute activation. This step isn't completely necessary because you can also do just some warm-up sets, which we're also going to do. So some warm-up sets of the big lifts that you're gonna be doing in your workout. But I usually like to just get a little bit of activation going on before that. And so there's no specific way to really do your activation. Pretty much if you're doing any kind of movement at all with this band on, you're really going to feel your glutes and legs firing up. So I usually just kind of do some lateral steps, so walking side to side, then do some kickbacks, squats, and some body weight hip thrusts. So everything is going to be nice and fired up for us to actually start the workout. So I normally would have started this workout off doing hip thrusts, but that area was taken. So instead I'm doing what would normally be my second exercise, which is my barbell RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. So like I said, I'm just going to quickly do a warm-up set. It's not a bad idea to do at least one, if not two, warm-up sets of the actual exercise that you're going to be doing, just so your body can get used to that range of motion, the muscles can get warmed up, and that way you're going to be able to actually lift a bit heavier and really have the engagement in your muscles once you're ready for your working sets. So with your warm-up set, you want to do maybe about 50% of the weight that you're going to be doing for your actual working sets, and do maybe around 10 reps, just enough so that the muscles feel really good and engaged before you get into your actual working sets. And remember, the goal of this workout is that I'm going pretty heavy, really trying to push myself, really doing that progressive overload. So I absolutely recommend, if you are a bit more advanced and you're starting to lift more heavy weight, getting these Versa grips. If not this exact thing, then at least getting some straps. I did get straps originally, but I found that I didn't really enjoy using them. I still felt kind of confused with them, and then I was recommended these Versa grips, and I absolutely love them. So it just gives your wrists some more support, because as you start lifting heavier and heavier, you're going to realize that it's pretty difficult for you to actually overload your legs because you're trying to lift so much weight that your wrists are giving out. So that's why if you want to continue to be able to overload your legs and glutes with that heavy weight, you're going to need some sort of support to be able to help you with that. So I'm also putting on my weightlifting belt for this, which is another piece of equipment I recommend once you start to get to be lifting heavier. It just allows you to do exercises like this, like deadlift variations that would maybe put a bit of tension on your lower back, and this way it's going to support your back and you're going to be able to lift heavier. So RDLs are a tricky exercise. It took me a while to get the form correct, and I'm always really trying to improve my form, but here are the main cues you want to think of. So you want to have a bend in your knees. That's what makes it an RDL instead of another type of deadlift. And then you want to keep a nice flat back, so you're not arching your back. And the main key that you really want to think of is that there's a rope around your hips, pulling your glutes, pulling your hips back towards the wall. So you're bending at the knee and you're really sticking your hips and butt back as far as you can. And the more you really think about hinging your butt back, the more you're going to really feel it in your glutes. So this is a fantastic glute and hamstring exercise. It's one of my favorites, one of the best that you see everybody doing, and for good reason, because it works so freaking well. So really hinge back, think that your glutes are going back towards the wall while keeping that bend in your knee, and then you're going to bring the barbell all the way down to just kind of above your shin. You don't want to go all the way down to the ground because that would be a different type of deadlift, so just bring it to about your shin, and then you're going to come back up, squeezing those glutes, and you don't actually come to a full lockout. You're going to come back up where you're still kind of arched forward just a little tiny bit. You don't need to do that complete lockout, and then you're going to go right back into the next rep, and I find doing that really keeps reduces the overload and keeps the tension on the glutes. And as you can see, I'm adding weight every single set here because I'm really trying to push myself. So adding, sometimes even it's just 5 pounds, those 2.5 pounds on each side, which maybe doesn't seem like a lot, but it still really does add up and it does contribute to your overload. And then for these RDLs, I'm doing 3 sets of 10. Okay, so now we are getting into our hip thrusts finally. So this is the new setup that I have been doing. There's this box in my gym that's 20 inches on one side, 24 inches on the other, and I believe that I have it at 20 inches, yes. And I put the box just outside the platform, and I find that that is a very perfect height to be doing hip thrusts because you want it to be that when you come up to the full extension, that your glutes are pretty much parallel to the ground. So if your bench is a bit higher than that, you're gonna end up overextending. So you just kind of want to make sure you can get the most ideal setup to do hip thrusts. So with the hip thrust as well, I'm quickly just doing a warm-up set because again, I'm going really heavy as I possibly can. So I want to just quickly do a warm-up set to get the glutes engaged before I get into the heavy stuff. So here I go, adding on a whole bunch of plates, and I'm putting on my fabric resistance band just to keep my legs in place. I find it helps keep your legs more sturdy, especially when you're really lifting a lot, and then it does help give a little bit more resistance as well. I have my barbell pad so that the bar isn't going to dig into my hip bones, which is obviously super important. You need some sort of cushion, whether it's a pad or a folded up yoga mat, something so that you're going to have that protection. And then I ended up doing just over 300 pounds, which for me is definitely the heaviest I've ever gone, but it is surprising when you realize, you really can actually lift that much. For a long time I thought there was no way I could do that, but when you actually push yourself, you realize you can do a lot more than you think you can. And remember, when you want to grow your glutes, the glute maximus, the bubble butt muscle, is the biggest muscle in your entire body. So the way that it's going to grow is by putting some serious overload on that muscle. So don't be afraid to push the weight. And obviously, if you're just starting, start with a reasonable weight, but you're going to keep pushing yourself to go heavier and heavier with time. So I'm doing 6 to 8 reps for 4 sets. I want to get an extra set in because this is really overloading the glutes here. And the range of motion is you want to put your legs right in front of you so that they're going to be at 90 degrees. And then you want to think that you're scooping your tailbone up like you're scooping ice cream, okay? You don't want to be like thrusting your whole back up. You really want to focus on the glutes lifting the weight. And what's going to also help you do that is not throwing your head back. You want to keep your eyes looking straight ahead at the wall, scooping that tailbone, coming up to a full extension, giving your glutes a little squeeze at the top. And I'm really trying to keep constant tension here, meaning I don't come to a complete dead stop. Like I don't bring the barbell down and then just rest for a second before I go into the next one. I'm barely touching the ground before I push back up, and that's going to really keep the tension on the glutes the whole way through. All right, outfit of the day. I just got this bra, the ruched Gymshark coconut white, and then I've had these shorts for a little bit. They're the Energy Seamless, the ones with the little holes. And look, we can already see I just did my heavy hip thrusts and RDLs. And you can see the glutes are already very pumped. All right, so the heavy RDLs and heavy hip thrusts definitely, hands down, was the hardest part of this workout. It's gonna get a lot easier from here on out. We're gonna be doing a little bit more isolation. So next we are gonna be doing some leg extensions to annihilate those quads. And this is a variation I've been doing recently that I love, which is where you do 1.5 reps. And you're gonna do 10 total reps for 3 sets of these 1.5 reps. So that extra little mini pulse at the bottom is just going to really annihilate your quads, make them burn in the best way possible. So nothing too special to say about the form here. It's pretty obvious. You want to fully extend your quads as much as you can and then give that mini half rep at the bottom. All right, next we are going into the seated leg press that's more horizontal, which is actually one that I've never really used before. This is new for me. I always do the angled one that's more of a vertical leg press, but I've been pleasantly surprised that this machine definitely has its place in your workout. So hopefully your gym has one and you can try this out. So the difference is instead of putting your feet kind of way up in front of you like you would on the laying down more vertical leg press, you're putting your feet directly in front of you and then pushing off your heels to fully extend your legs and then come all the way back down as low as the machine will let you go before you push off again. And this is just a great way to get a little bit more emphasis in that glute hamstring region that we're really trying to target in this entire workout. So I did 3 sets of 10 reps reps. And then on the very last set, I actually did a final drop set, meaning that I did my third set and then immediately I dropped the weight to the next lowest rep, and I did as many reps as I possibly could till failure. So I've been doing a lot more of these drop sets to failure recently, and it's a great way to just squeeze out every little last bit that you can and really get that final bit of overload on your muscles without having to do it every single set. You want to just do it at the end just to kind of give it a final hurrah. All right, moving on to our final exercise, we are going to be doing some dumbbell single leg hip thrusts. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh my gosh, we're doing hip thrusts again. And the answer is yes, because this is a very glute focused workout. We're really trying to overload and grow those glutes. And I know it might be hard, and by this point you might just be over it, but trust me, power through. It's going to be absolutely worth the results you're going to see. So this time I'm taking a pretty challenging dumbbell. I started off doing these with maybe just a 20-pound dumbbell, but like I said, I kept trying to overload every single week. And I think in this workout, I'm using a 45-pound dumbbell. So you can definitely push yourself to go pretty heavy, even though it's a single leg, more isolation exercise. So for this one, you're going to get a bench, make sure that your upper back is against that bench, bringing your legs in front of you at that 90-degree angle, just like you would with a barbell hip thrust. And then you're going to lift one leg up in the air and keep it at 90 degrees. And then you're simply going through the hip thrust range of motion. So you are thrusting up and down, hinging from your hips, lowering the hips to the ground, and then pushing off the heel of that front foot and scooping your tailbone up, coming up all the way, full extension, nice little glute squeeze at the top. And I did 12 reps on each leg for 3 sets. Oh, all right, fam, that is the workout. I'm dead, my heart is pumping, my booty is pumped, it feels great. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the workout. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. Comment down below if there's anything you want to see from me, and I will see you in the next video.